Welcome, VeVe fam, to this interview special with none other than VeVe's community manager, Rhys Skellern. Welcome, man.
Hello. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. And you see, today we are not alone. We have three other guests. The man himself, Energy, Chris VeVe Reisen, another German YouTuber, and the VeVeversum, another German YouTuber here. Yeah, we have some questions today to Rhys, and you can join us later here in the stream for 15 to 20 minutes. Then you can come up on stage. You can tell Rhys your question, and that's it. And
before we get there, seeing as we were both at DesignerCon, how was the event for you, Captain VeVe?
Absolutely amazing. The event was absolutely, it was amazing. I can't describe this. It was so many emotions with the team, the after show party, and so on. And for me, it was the first time in Los Angeles or America, and it was great. And a dream become true.
That's how it's feeling for us too. Did you go to Disneyland while you were there?
No, because it was too expensive for me, and I want to buy more OMI. That's why.
Good decision.
I think in 10 years I can go 20 times to Disneyland. By the way, hello to the VeVe fam here in the chat. Thank you for joining us here today. And Rhys, do you have something, or we can start?
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Just a big hello and welcome to everybody who's tuning in, and obviously to all of you guys for joining us today as well.
Yeah, thank you for your time, man. Really appreciate
it.
Chris, do you want to start?
Yeah, of course.
Interview.
I got some nice questions. I'm really, really curious to hear some answers, I hope. So let's go. So the first one I wanted to ask is, in the past, when there were AMAs or Q&As, it was my understanding that the licensors are responsible for creating the items, the collectibles or the comics on the VeVe app. So is this true, or is there a third-party company that gets the mission to create these collectibles, and it's just that the licensors go and tell them what to change, how they would like it to have, or whatever? Like, what is the process?
Yeah, so it depends on which licensor, right? So for some of the collectibles, like Jurassic Park, they provided, they already have these 3D models that they used in the films. So they provide those, and then we reduce them and map them and make them suitable for mobile, and really reduce the definition of them, right? Because you're talking about these huge film assets. But the majority of our assets, we have an in-house design team, and then we outsource to quite a number of AAA studios. So which studio does the work would depend on where we are in the product pipeline more than anything. And then the licensors are really involved in all of the approvals. So we obviously work directly with the studios that create these assets. Then we take those assets back to, say, Marvel or Disney for approvals for any sort of changes. And I mean, there's always something to change. And that process sort of goes back and forth for most assets would probably take 6 months from ideation to completion. Some would be sooner, some would be longer. But the licensors it's not just the collectible they approve, they have to approve all of the social copy, all of the imagery in the app, on the website, Medium articles, all those kind of things too. So yeah, they're involved, but less so in the actual model building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super interesting. Maybe I shoot another question right after it. How much was Disney involved with the Star Wars models, like the starships? Because obviously there were Starship models already in the pipeline. So are these the original models, and you just shrink them down in detail and stuff?
It's a really good question. Actually, I'm not sure about the specific Star Wars ones. I think similar to Jurassic Park, if there is an existing model or 3D, mapping or something, then we would start with that. and just make it more suitable. Obviously, that would cut down on our workload rather than creating from scratch. So I'm inclined to say that would be the case, but I don't know for sure.
Well, if that is the case, I would totally think it would make sense to put it in the description of the items, because like for example, I'm working with 3D models for a few years, and I've been hunting the original Star Trek models from the show for years.
Right.
If these were coming to VeVe and someone would say, okay, these are the original models, we just put down the detail, reduce the textures, etc., that would be such a boost for me to have these models. Like that would be so extra. So I would use it as a means to tell the people this is something really original from the effects studios.
Yeah, I agree. I'll jot that down and speak to Alex about it. It definitely adds some more authenticity, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think, Energy, you have some other questions.
There's a voice behind that mask.
For sure. Hi, Fam. To me, Energy, Fam and Woman X and Waterholic supporter. And sometimes also NFT creator for OMI Burn and something else. So, hi, Rhys. Nice to meet you also in person.
You too.
You only wrote some texts. So, yeah, I have a lot of, not a lot of, but I have some questions also from the VeVe farm and also from me personally. I don't know if I put it partly out. MCP OUP, what are your, in the future, with the point of view to the VeVeverse, what you think is we are more excited about?
I'm always more excited about OMI. That's my bread and butter. Yeah. So I mean, the collectibles are amazing, and obviously the VeVeverse changes the game completely. But I personally am always excited to figure out more ways to deliver value to the token, and I just think the VeVeverse gives us almost limitless possibilities there as well.
Yeah. Okay. Coming to OMI, we know that we can buy in future OMI via the VeVe app. Is it also possible to reverse, to cash out from OMI also back then?
You will just be able to withdraw your OMI to your personal wallets. That would be the cash out as such. But you would still need to, at least at the moment, you would need to be able to roll those down to layer 1 and then send them to an exchange. Yeah. So yeah, look, those decisions were made, the on-ramps and off-ramps, those kind of things. Obviously, we have to play within the bounds of AML laws. But crypto pay-in, say we accept Ether or USDC, any of those tokens are going to be sold down to collect the dollars for the company. So if we allowed OMI pay-in or OMI to gem that way, we'd be selling down the token to generate those dollars, which is why we're going to transact directly with OMI tokens and let you into the app with other crypto through gems. I think that's the best balance there, at least at the moment.
Okay. Because you mentioned the wallet, do we ever see the new Ecomi wallet?
The secure wallet?
Yeah.
I don't know at this stage. I mean, I thought sort of 12 months ago we would have it. During COVID, the costs for shipping actually made it became an expense for us. Like it cost more to develop and ship that wallet than the company made. So once we sold out the batch that we had, we just paused production. And there just hasn't been a need as of yet to really kick that back off. You know, a lot of our development time, a lot of our focus is on beating and integrating OMI and the wallets that way, as opposed to having our own cold storage device. And I mean, if we're being honest, wallets like Ledger, the Lattice wallet, things like that, they're just more functional and more capable now. They have a team dedicated to that wallet technology. And now that we're on ERC20 for OMI specifically, I mean, I think it makes more sense to focus on integrations with other wallets than it does to really continue to beef up our own.
Okay, that means that the Ecomi wallet is not has no focus. No.
Pretty much. Yeah. The focus is more on OMI and VeVe at the moment. I mean, look, I'm not saying that we won't produce them again, and there's definitely still room for that technology and that wallet with VeVe collectibles if we were to make them available in physical stores. But again, I mean, our focus since we created that wallet has really shifted to digital products and enabling the use of OMI in the digital world. And I think at the moment we're just happier to lean into that and continue to push forward. And without the physical ties, they're just not as necessary as they were 4 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. With the merging accounts, with the merging of accounts, are there also MCP points that were collected on the other account transferred with?
Yes. Yeah. So I did ask this the other day. And look, if it changes between now and then, don't shoot me. But yeah, everything should be. So collectibles, gems, MCP points. Yeah, they should all.
Awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I think it's the best way to go about it. And then once it's done, we all start with a clean slate. We have accurate numbers, and we can move forward. Yeah.
Okay. Then, Frank, do you want another question?
Yes. Thanks for having me in the show, Captain VeVe. And hello, Rhys. I've got two questions concerning the VeVe-verse. I think what we saw at the Decon is only our new home in the VeVe-verse. When can we see a glimpse of the real city, the VeVe city we know already?
Probably, I think we had a roadmap on the presentation, right? And we're expecting sort of Q1 to be everyone gets access to their home space. Q2 would be VeVe City and maybe some of the licensed branded worlds. So I think we'll see a more holistic view of the VeVe-verse maybe towards the end of Q1. That would be my guess. Yeah.
Okay, and another one, we saw that we can drive or fly the, let me see, the DeLorean time machine. What other cars will be possible to drive or fly?
That's a great question. I mean, I know. Flying the DeLorean was news to me, so I better find out. But longer term, the idea is obviously that all controllable vehicles will be controllable in the VeVe-verse. I mean, I think that if we did it to one and not the rest, people will chase me with a pitchfork. So we better do it to all of them.
Depending on the scale, or just the one cars, or the one.
Yeah, I think depending on the scale. Yeah, there may be limitations, or the ones that scale bigger or smaller might just lock into place at 1-to-1 anyway. So I'm sure there's ways to do that.
That means we can drive our Lambos in the VeVe-verse.
I mean, that's the hope, right? I want to drive Lambos, I want to drive DeLoreans, Batmobiles, you name it.
Ah, okay, nice. Yeah.
Batmobiles. I heard that. I got one there and another one here, so I need it.
You need it? Good. You may have remembered on David Yu's Instagram.
Yeah.
Almost 2 years ago now, 18 months ago, that he had that Batmobile preview. So I don't know when it's coming, but I hope we see it soon.
Okay.
For this, I have a nice question from Mr. Farken. Do you have, or let's say, which part of the VeVe-verse you're more excited about?
Part of the VeVe-verse.
Which brand world?
Yes, I'll take a second to think about that. I am excited for the branded worlds. I think that's going to be a really interesting way to onboard users, and obviously, it's going to generate a lot of news and hype around the company. And we have 250 plus brand partners and licenses now. It's not to say they're all going to enter our metaverse, but we only need a small fraction of those to start exploring the capabilities to really make it worthwhile. So look, I think that's a really positive thing, but the open scripting language is probably the thing that will have the most impact, right? And that's letting any of us build on our own block of land, build games, build experiences, create that metaverse economy where we can start, renting collectibles or charging an entrance fee to your gaming world or whatever we happen to build. So, I think that's probably the key to opening the experience to a lot more people, even if the branded worlds are what kind of gets people in the door.
Yeah, and by saying entrance fee, I've also a nice question from Tails, or Waterholic. He asked if we have the first iteration of the Weverse, is it possible also to maybe charge 1 gem the people who want to visit your vault or your
in the
area?
first iteration? No, I don't think so. The first iteration is the home space, right? So you'll access it almost like everyone can access their showrooms now, except that you'll be able to go into other people's home space and all those things. I don't think that the income capabilities will be available straight away. I think it's something that we'll add a bit later. Yeah.
Okay, and is it also possible, maybe they work a lot of in his walls and so on, to work together in one?
To work together on a particular world or experience? Yeah.
With another friend or other builder?
Oh, I see what you mean. I assume so. Yeah, I mean, if coding is uploaded.
How would it look like? Can then the other one use the assets of this particular one who owns the area, or can he bring also his own stuff in?
Yeah, so you will be able to create and mint your own NFTs. Now, I think to begin that will be gated and it will go through some sort of approval process. But really at that point you can bring in like furniture brands, any of those big distributors that create lounge suites and coffee tables and digitize those. So if you can do that on your own as well, and you have that content and those assets, I see no reason why you couldn't do the same thing and sell those to other users or gift them or whatever it happens to be.
Okay.
Yeah. I imagine a day, and I'm sure we all sort of saw it in the demo, where you have your own lounge suites and people can walk in and say, it's almost like choosing from an IKEA catalog. They really like that shelving unit, and they tap it and make you an offer, or it takes you to your actual NFT storefront, and they can purchase those items from you. That's kind of where this goes, I think. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sounds nice.
I've got one more. Rhys, can we hope for the fidgetals from Marvel Mighties or the Disney Villains?
Fidgetals? That's a good question.
Captain, I sent you 2 pictures in the private chat.
Did you? Yeah. Hang on, let me have a look.
Yeah, I did mock-ups of them and asked every time the community.
Oh, they're awesome. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what Marvel does with the Mighties, actually, because as you guys know, they're only available on the VeVe app at the moment. I think, and this is obviously in no way confirmation, these look awesome, by the way. But that's kind of the perfect product there, where if you bought that physical product, then you could redeem the digital, right, or vice versa. So I'd love to start seeing more of that. Obviously, we're testing the waters at the moment with artworks. If someone gets an artwork, they get a print or they get a physical statue or whatever it happens to be. So, I think once we've kind of nailed down how it actually works, how functional it is to send products to people, or if we start working on those kind of department store partnerships, I think we'll really start to see some of that roll out in the new year.
Okay. I think the Mighties are perfect for it because it's a VeVe VeVe thing.
yeah, exactly right. It's already set up for it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rhys, do you know when we can see the leopard breeding from Frank Kozik?
No.
Because I know.
He got a bit excited, I think, when he mentioned that. No, I don't know yet. I think that I don't want to just put everything in. Yeah, soonish, right? I don't think it's right at the top. I think we need to build in functionality to allow that to even happen. If it was breeding rabbits, you then have you need to probably reestablish the standards that we build these on, because like a composable token standard would be ERC 1155. And I don't know if Immutable supports those yet, so we might have to build our own solution to combine items and then allow them. And then, we're obviously thinking forward to interoperability as well, and how that would play out. So there's a few pieces of the puzzle that need to come together first for that.
Okay. Chris, do you have some other questions?
Yeah, I got various questions. So I don't know how much you are involved with the comic stuff, but I was interested about the exclusive variants. In the beginning, I felt there was a lot of different artists doing the exclusives, but at this stage, I feel like it's a little bit repetitive. I see always the same names, and I'm a total fan of Rachel Rosenberg for the colors, but she seems to be on like 80% of the exclusives. So even though Marvel has a whole lot of artists, we see always the same names. So what is happening there? Do you have any idea what's the reason for that?
I can make some assumptions. You're right. I'm not that involved in the creative process of the comics, but as you say, Marvel has a whole range of artists, and they dedicate X artists to X project. So I think as we see, there's a lot of comics, right, and not all of them are super amazing FA historical collectible items. So I think that when it's those kind of lower demand items, we'll probably see the usual roster of artists creating covers for those. And then when we have those kind of higher impact items, I would expect to see the bigger name artists. And I think that's what we have seen up until now. But it's, these works are still exclusive to VeVe and really incredible, but I understand they can get a bit monotonous if it's the same style every time and all of that. So I think it's more of a, that's just how Marvel has chosen to create these pieces and run their ship. Yeah.
And with the one-of-ones, I was thinking about, especially about the colorists. So in the 90s, colorists started to work like mostly digital, and nowadays there's barely any book that doesn't use digital colors. So I was wondering of the artist proofs, if they wouldn't make more sense if they would be used to instead of the pencilers. Now I know the pencilers are the ones that bring in the customers. That has always been the same. It is what it is. But I thought like there's so many great colorists like Rachel Rosenberg or whatever, and it would be nice to have some of them bring their color game as a one-of-one, because that is, if I would be a colorist, that would be awesome, because it's like, aside from prints, finally a way to get some one-of-ones, to get some real unique pieces out of my work, because it's mainly just digital work.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, there have been some color pieces, right? Scotty Young, I think, released one that was a colorway and things like that. But yeah, I completely agree. To be honest, I think that just creates another vertical or another little niche within those artist proofs or within comic collecting, the black and whites and the colorways, similar to how statues roll out, right? You have like the Todd as he is, as we all know him, but then there's that blue and yellow colorway. There's a few others. So I won't be surprised to see not the same piece roll out with color, but that develop as another niche within the artwork program.
Yeah, I think, like, let's say the Brian Stelfreeze pieces. That's because Brian Stelfreeze is the artist completely. Like, he does the pencils, he does the inks, he does the colors. So, but there's a lot of pieces that we have now that are just pencils, and that were, I guess, scanned pencils. So there's another real physical piece out there, while the fully colored pieces, usually there's no real world piece out there for a colored piece, because it's not possible. It's done digital. Yeah. So that was my thinking, that, okay, so the colorists would really benefit from it, and it would be a little bit more special instead of having pieces that have a physical counterpart in some places.
What do you think? I mean, because a lot of those artist proofs become the color version when they're a comic cover, right? Like that is one of the color versions. So you would prefer to still have that one still as a colorway, as opposed to seeing it on the comic cover as the color version?
Depends.
Because effectively it's the same product then. One just
of course. I mean, it's like with original art. If you have pencils that have been inked traditionally, so you don't have the pencils. The pencils are already covered by ink. So that is always a piece of discussion. But let's say the Scotty Young piece we had that was colored. So there was an original pencils of the Scotty Young piece, it was the ink piece. So that is an original that is in the hands of a collector. He has the physical one. So, and now on VeVe, we have the one-of-one of the colored piece. Now that's something I think is great, because there's a physical, but it's not the same. So that's different of having a pencil piece that was scanned in. Yeah, and that's what I'm going for with the colored pieces, because the color pieces will always be one of ones.
Yeah, completely agree. Yeah, all right. I'll chat to the man, Mr. U, and see what he. He's probably out there trying to buy all the pencil and color versions first, so that he can then release them.
Makes sense.
Rhys, do you know, will the OMI staking be possible via the secure wallet in the future, or is it impossible?
No, so I think it's a hardware limitation. So the version of the secure wallet that everybody has, or that's in people's hands, didn't have staking capabilities. There are updates to the hardware that can allow that now. But I think the way we're thinking is, at the moment you have your in-app OMI wallet that anybody can access if they go to omi.veve.me. From there, we would have a spot wallet, which is where most of the transacting would take place, and a staking wallet, which is where you would commit your stake. So I think that everything will happen from that central hub. Now, we may eventually link through the web app to MetaMask or Coinbase wallet, use Wallet Connect, so that you can control your funds from your own wallet. So say if you have a ledger connected to your MetaMask or something like that, that way you control the keys and all those things. But I think initially, at least on the way to staking, it will all take place through your in-app OMI wallet.
Okay. And another question from a German community member is, do you think it would be possible to display the circulation supply on the OMI token portal website? And yes.
Yep, it would be for sure. Yeah, we do have the CoinGecko link in there somewhere with, I think, where to buy OMI, and through CoinGecko you can find the maximum circulating supply. We also have the token metrics and supply details. So if you go to WTF is OMI, and then you'll see a box that says token metrics and supply details, and that tells you what we started with and what the current OMI supply is. So as most of you would know, we started with 750 billion tokens. We've now burnt 76 billion from the or thereabouts from the reserve. I think close to another 100 billion were permanently frozen. The rest live in the tokenomic system. So, I think the max circulating supply is 311 billion tokens. We're going to burn another 5.5 billion of those. So you're down to 305. And all of those are unlocked and investing now. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you're perfect. You've got it up there. So anyone can find these details, and I think we have a date on there somewhere to say this was last updated.
Okay, awesome. And what do you think? Where is the circulation supply in, I don't know, 5 or 10 years? Do you have there?
That's a great question. I mean, everything in the OUP and eventually in the VeVeverse is designed to reduce the circulating supply, right? And everyone will burn it. So how many tokens we end up with will depend on the price, right? Especially if it's burns per dollar value, and the use case and adoption of VeVe. But we're now 2 years in, and personally, I feel, and you may have felt this at DCon as well, it actually feels like we're at that point. We're about to take off the training wheels now. We understand our user base. We have these our relationships are much stronger with these licensors. They're now on board with where we're headed. So look, we're still aiming at tens of millions of users on the VeVe platform and in the VeVeverse. We only need to capture a small percentage of those that use OMI to really kick off the flywheel of deflating that supply. So, I'm sure someone will come up with some models once we start seeing the features used. But yeah, I see no reason why we can't halve the circulating supply in the next 5 or 10 years, if not more.
Yeah. Do you think we can burn with play to burn or watch to burn and so on? Other burn mechanisms like VeVe, can we burn with this mechanism more OMI than with VeVe? What do you think about that?
I think VeVe will be more. I think VeVe will be more. No, that's predicated on the success of each company, right? I mean, if Tengoku, for example, that's designed, you can play to earn OMI tokens, but it will also burn some from that supply as well. So if that becomes really successful, it will probably start burning more. Same with Epico Regal. I know their last tournament, they had close to 10,000 players sign up, things like that. So they're really starting to get some momentum now as well. And all of these are predicated on use, but the more use that they all have, the better it supports the token. And I think that's just one of the most beautiful things about our community. Right? When I first got into crypto, this is how it worked, right? It's people that enjoyed what was going on and wanted to contribute would come up with ways to contribute. In a bull market, everybody points the finger, right? It's our responsibility to make everybody rich in a bull market. But it's the collective experience and the collective input that actually makes a project successful over time, right? And holds everybody together. So it's, I'm so proud of everybody in this community and so happy to see everyone taking up the charge and doing watch to burn or play to burn and building their own things, because it's available. Anybody can do this stuff, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And do you think how much can burn Tendoku with, I don't know, 5,000 users, or if there are any expectations?
Yeah, so we will release more information about Tengoku as we get a little bit closer to it. But for that game specifically, you can grind out the game, you play the game, and you earn their in-game currency. Can't remember what they're calling it, but it's effectively like gems.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be able to swap those gems for OMI tokens, right, and redeem OMI. So that's the play to earn component. Mm-hmm. The amount that you can redeem will depend on a few variables, but we'll get to that. But you can also spend your tokens, OMI tokens, in their store on NFTs, which would be like weapons and power-ups and things that make the game more enjoyable. And then there's another avenue for other cryptos to come in as well, but it's more expensive as you go up that layer, right? Yeah. So look, a game like that, there's not many crypto games, right? And as much as it's play to earn and going to be really great for the token and really fun for token holders, it's just a really fun game, right? And I think that this industry has to promote the game first as an enjoyable experience, and any sort of crypto integration is secondary. It's just something to supplement that experience, right? So those developers are going to roll out new chapters, basically new levels every 3 months. They'll do a lot of their own airdrops and community building stuff as well. So, the use of OMI within the app will depend on the success of their game, but we're supporting it. They obviously come to a community that's full of supporters of these kind of things. So longer term, I think they have a lot of potential and capability to burn some tokens. And then we're already in discussions with them to develop a PvP game, right? Player versus player. So maybe at that point you can wager your OMI tokens, similar to how you can do it in the features, and really start to just have a bit more fun, right? Put some money on the line and see if you're the best player.
Yeah, and one gem in this game is one OMI, or
so no, the tokenomic system we've built. The amount that you can cash out will probably be capped per account, depending on how we float the system. And it will actually be a ratio dependent on how much in-game currency there is, right? So if not many people are playing the game, then the payouts will be smaller. But as the player, there'll be that balancing point where there's enough money coming in to resupply the token pool, and we can justify the tokens going out there. That will take some testing more than anything. Testing, tweaking. Yeah.
Okay. Can we get any examples of OUP or burn mechanism in the VeVe from you?
Not yet. The basic ones we've talked about, like if we're doing accessory sales in the VeVe-verse, things like that, it's very easy. If someone wants to buy an accessory with ETH, well, that can just market purchase OMI, and we burn from there. So we're creating buy pressure on the token there. But no, I can't disclose too much more yet. Ultimately, we need to really flesh it out, like we did for the OMI utility program in VeVe. But
that means there is something. Okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. OMI is our token, right? OMI is our token. That is, we're always going to build it into our products and create as many utilities as we can. We just want to, we want to make sure that the items or the offerings we're providing are in demand and people want to use them, right? But in the metaverse, it's limitless what you can do with the products, the digital technology, with any of those things. So there's no reason we can't have OMI as a core piece of that.
I like your smile when you're talking about this. There's other question about the staking. I didn't look too much into it because I need first more OMI, but when I staked already tier 1 and then put the OMI out of this, do I start again with tier 1 or do I keep the tier 1?
You keep the tier. You keep the tier. So once you've unlocked the tier, you keep it. But if you withdraw and prices change or anything like that, it will change the amount of tokens you need to go back to that tier and receive those benefits. But once you've unlocked it, you've unlocked it. That's fine.
Okay.
Sounds amazing. What do you think? How many games we can see in 2023 to burn OMI?
I think most of the I wouldn't call them games necessarily, but like a lot of gamification will start to come to
okay,
yeah, that will be I think that will be the focus in 2023. Like I said, Tengoku may continue to build out what they're doing. I know Epico are building their own sort of social metaverse as well. So I think the partnerships we have will expand in terms of specific gaming, but our focus will be more on the collectibles and the VeVe-verse.
Okay, but there are no plans to add more games with other companies.
Some may come up. Some may come up. Yep. If there's more opportunity there, I'm always exploring it. But at the moment, Tengoku was the last one that we announced maybe 6 months ago. We said there was another game coming, and then we'll look to form new partnerships as we go. Ultimately, we're testing that use case, right? Like the value of using a token that has value somewhere else, like in VeVe, and what that provides to a game. Obviously, these games get instant community and players and all of that as well. I think over time, as each of those companies succeeds, Epico, features Tengoku, the use case or the reasoning to use the OMI token gets stronger and stronger. So, I think we'll see plenty more in the future.
Okay, that means there are no plans for the next year for more companies, or I know you can say any names also, but if you have a number or I don't know, say it.
For other games, no. Look,
just say it.
Our focus now will shift back towards the VeVe-verse and
okay.
Getting OMI into the VeVe app, those kind of things. Yeah.
Okay.
And if more games come up, I'll let you know.
I have one typical German-related subject. I would have asked you in London, but forget about it. There's an incomplete drop in Germany, the UCI Jurassic Park drop. We only saw the rare, the common, and the no, we only say the uncommon. The common and the rare are not here. Is that a complete set? Are we able to complete the set? Do you know anything about it?
I know when those promotions happened, there was a redemption window, a limited redemption window. So I don't know if they'll ever hit the market. Whether that means they'll become an individual set, I have no idea. I'll find out for you. Yeah.
Do you think it's a question for David?
That would be a question for David.
Yeah. Okay. Then next year. Okay. I have here a very interesting question from the VeVe Meister. Will users be able to program their own games in the VeVe-verse in order to burn OMI? See Roblox.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. You can create whatever you choose to on your land with that open scripting language. If you want to burn OMI using those experiences, yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, awesome.
Everyone can burn what you like. You can also create NFTs and use the earnings to burn NFT, to burn the OMI.
Exactly.
Open your business and donate half of your money to burn.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, we can, we talked about the golden ticket land redemptions, right? As a staking reward, where we can make those redemptions in one particular, OMI land or whatever we choose to call it. So that if you go there, you can spend your tokens, or you can, you're hanging with other people who use the token, that kind of thing. So we can start to direct traffic to particular areas of the metaverse, depending on the experience you're looking for as well.
If you have some question out there, you have time in 20 minutes to come up, and then can you tell your questions, Rhys? Yeah.
Cool. Are you going to take those from the chat, or are you going to?
Yeah, to the chat. Yeah. Chris, do you have some questions?
Yeah. Since we're talking so much about OMI, and I saw in the chat, people wanted us to ask more about OMI. So I have an OMI question that is, it's simply focusing on myself, I guess. So as you can see, I'm really into collecting all this stuff. But I'm not a high-end collector. I don't collect these $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 statues or whatever. I'm a little bit smaller as a collector. Now I'm holding some OMI, but it won't be enough to be in any tiers at this point. If OMI goes up, of course, that will change, possibly. Now my question is, these two things are really different. Right now, most of the community own OMI and VeVe, I suppose. I guess a lot of people will have both. So, and that is because in the VeVe app, we have a lot of investor-minded people. Now, I'm coming from a different perspective. I'm not even looking for what can I do in the VeVeverse later. I'm actually enjoying the stuff we have already. So that is like my thing right now. And I was thinking ahead, like in 5 years, what are the ideas to get someone like me into investing into OMI, while that is so different from the collecting experience? Especially when you think about mass adoption, that means you need to have product that isn't so expensive. Like not everyone can afford like a Walt Disney statue, and like the tiers right now pretty expensive. So how do we get these people into buying OMI, while they may don't have the funds to put all that in because they also want to collect the NFTs?
Yeah. I mean, OMI in the app, the whole point of it is to help you build those collections, right, or to give you some advantage. So even if you come in as a collector, and you obviously, if you have knowledge about collectibles, I feel like you've already got a bit of an advantage over people in terms of what might hold value. But as we keep rolling out these high-profile licenses and first appearances and things like that, and as the user base grows, we are going to get to a point where you need to take any advantage that you can get, right? And that's where the real motivation for learning about OMI comes in. Now, it won't be that hard to help people jump the gap once it's all in place, because we can obviously send out emails and send out instructions and point out the use cases and the value of using the token. But ultimately, it's designed to help you build your collections and get more out of VeVe. It'll be challenging, right? But crypto will get easier over the next few years. I think people's understanding and knowledge of that will become easier too. And if you're enjoying the experience, as you said, Chris, but you want to make sure you land that Lambo drop or that Banksy drop or that whatever, and OMI can give you that chance, I think that I won't say it sells itself. Everything is work, but the premise is there at least to help people kind of jump the gap and move across. Now, my job is to make that as easy as possible within the app, right? So they still don't need to go and understand MetaMask and wallets and keys. If you can just press buy OMI and it goes to your in-app OMI wallet, and then you can transact with it or stake it, then you're laughing, right? And then the education just comes in teaching people about the value of that token and how a deflating supply and increasing demand may give them more perks, right? If the price goes up, then maybe you can stake at tier 2 or tier 3 or that kind of thing. And collectively, the more people that understand that and take advantage of that, especially early on, the better chance you have of it being, more valuable and giving you more access later in the app.
Sounds amazing. Before we do the next question, VeVe has tweeted or announced new drop for Saturday, and this is Battlestar Galactica. I don't know what that is, but but these are battleships. I can a little bit bigger here.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. A little bit more sci-fi coming out.
Yeah. If you want to buy it, but yeah, I think collect what you love.
Yeah, always collect what you love, right? I mean, every one of these brands accesses a different niche of collector, right? Or a different fan. That's what this whole app was built around. It was around fans and giving you access to things you already loved, just in a new format. So, I mean, just watching this video, these ships look awesome. Yeah, it'd be great to fly them around in the VeVe-verse one day as well. That's no.
Confirm.
It'd be great to do.
But then in one of one. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. Just hovering over VeVe City. I mean, that's what I've always envisioned for these kind of things, right? And we're a few years away from it yet, but like, if you went down the road and you're in your city and you see a giant starship above the city, and it can airdrop you collectibles or whatever, right? The opportunities for marketing, the opportunities to put this product in front of people, especially when we have wearables on, right? When AR glasses are a thing, and anyone who's got the VeVe app on can look up and see the same thing from anywhere in the city, like that gets me excited, And I know we're a few years away from that probably, but I think at that point, you're really matching. You're taking these digital products and putting them into the physical realm where people can't avoid seeing them or avoid their curiosity, right? And then you come back to the one central place, right? The app store, effectively, where you can go through the history of VeVe and see which ones came out first and where they were. It's just, we're seeing it, right? We saw it at DCon. You're seeing this reignition of people's collecting passion and all of that. And I really think that this is prime time for this industry to be making moves.
Do you know when can we see the VeVe museum with the #1 collectibles?
I think that will be part of VeVe City.
Okay, awesome. Okay, that means we can see this next year, probably.
I would think so. Yeah. Okay. If it rolls out at the same time, I imagine it will, because otherwise there's not going to be much in VeVe City. So it's got to be something there. Yeah.
Okay, sounds nice. And do you know, can we see in the future OMI collectibles in the app? And can we burn with these collectibles OMI token?
Can we burn OMI tokens with those? So, I mean, obviously not right now. You can't see them.
Yeah.
But we do want to showcase the collectible rewards before each staking season so that people know what's coming. It would suck to lock up your tokens for 3 months or 6 months, whatever, and then not enjoy the reward there. So we'll try to showcase those. I imagine at the time then, yes, you'll be able to see them in the app when we get there, but that's that. And will we burn OMI with those collectibles? You'll receive those collectibles for free, right, as staking reward, those in-app collectibles, and then you can choose to trade them in the market for OMI tokens, and every one of those transactions will burn a piece from the supply.
Okay, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of the tickets as well, right? Obviously, the bronze ones you can buy or burn only 4 bronze tickets, but you can only get the silver and gold staking them, right? That's where they come into circulation. And then if you say you're not in tier 3, 4, or 5, you can still purchase those tickets from other people using OMI tokens again.
Okay. Frank, do you have some questions?
Of course.
OMI?
I heard about affiliate program. When will this take place?
No idea.
No idea.
No, but it is in the works now. I think Dan mentioned it at DesignerCon maybe or something like that. So, but I think that will probably be a feature maybe by mid next year, mid 2023, something like that. I would expect it. We're really starting to step up the user acquisition, right, and the marketing and all of those fun things. So I think it'll be part of that rollout.
So I should stop, bring my family in, and wait for
Just
the
yeah.
Okay.
Or get more family,
I got another one Disney related. Bob Iger is back in charge by Disney, and I guess the signing was under Bob Iger. It's 4 years ago, I think Disney is signed.
With us, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, probably
3 or 4 years.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, Marvel was first in Disney. Yeah.
Is there a different direction, vision for Disney with Bob Iger at CEO?
I'm not involved in
he has a different mindset, I know.
I think he's much more pro metaverse, and Disney's core premise has always been storytelling. How do they connect? How they and it's the effect of that has shown, right? It's one of the most recognizable brands in the world. I think they realize that the metaverse is the next stage of that storytelling, right? And it's going to open access to, anyone from around the world can put a headset on now and go to digital Disneyland if that's what they build, right? So it's going to open their access there. As to our direction with them or the exact direction they're choosing to go, I mean, that's separate from us. But yeah, that's a conversation I would love to have with Mr. CEO over there.
Okay.
Energy,
Yeah.
do you have some questions? Or
Yeah, I got today a question about the OMI burn or the collectible burn. Does the collectible burn, which we see now, affect somehow OMI?
No.
Because it's not minted, right?
Yeah, the collectible burn we're talking about is, you'll burn X amount, right? Or sorry, there's two, right? We're burning from the store. That was what the tweet went out yesterday to get rid of old product. And then the next stage is that you as a user can burn, X amount of editions and receive a prototype, which would be a much more exclusive item. But no, that doesn't really interact with OMI at all.
Okay. And because we got already a When question, I got also one. When music. Do we can say about something now?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say anything specific, but it sounds like music is closer than most people probably think. I know David mentioned it and at DesignerCon that music and sports were probably the next two big verticals to come. How that looks in the VeVe app and what you kind of get, I'm not sure yet. There's been a lot of speculation and ideas kicked around. I would love to see platinum records that you could put on your wall, and if you touch them, it plays the song or something like that. You could do jukeboxes in showrooms, right? And any tracks you own go in the jukebox and that kind of thing. Then when people are in your home space in the VeVe-verse, you could have tracks.
Is it different to the music what we already have? Is it Disney collectible?
Yeah. So the music that's kind of in there at the moment is like sound effects. We're talking like record labels and working with those kind of brands and IPs. Yeah.
Is the first music act, has it less than 5 letters?
Does it? I have no idea. I'm going to stay out of the loop of what's coming on.
Okay. It's a try.
Yeah. You say we have 250 plus licenses now. Where do you see VeVe next year with the licenses?
Well, I mean, we probably need to start rolling out some of those licenses.
True, yeah.
Before we start booking more in.
Okay.
Yeah, so look, I think we'll see a lot of the partnerships we've already announced. They're really starting to come up in the production pipeline and make a bit more sense to release those. So we'll see those. We'll continue to see a lot of Marvel, Disney content. There's so many brands under the Disney umbrella, right? And then within each brand, so many characters. So there's almost an endless amount of content already. But we know that as part of the user acquisition strategy, when you want to bring in new eyeballs, and to do that, you need to access different parts of the market. So I think we'll see a lot of new brands and exciting brands roll out in 2023 as well.
Okay, and can we see an overview with all those licenses, or are there most?
There is there's a lot we haven't announced yet, but of the announced ones, there is an old image floating out there. It's Alex's favorite photo. That has all like a good list of brands in there. But I think it's about time we had almost like the token portal, but something like that for VeVe, where we had sort of a VeVe cheat sheet. This is how many editions get dropped, or this is how many get kept, and have the announced licensors as part of that list would be good as well.
Yeah.
Did you plan to have any platform for content creators, VeVe content creators, so they can pick up some insights without having the secrets, of course?
Yes, we have tried this and sort of spoken about it. Sadly, every time we've tried something, it's ended with backlash instead of excitement, because people feel like somebody else got information before they did, even though it's sort of been exclusive. So look, it's definitely something that I want to implement, and it's such an amazing way to share information across the community. But we need a better strategy around it, basically.
Okay.
I have a very important question. I don't know how much involved are you in this type, but is it possible that VeVe announces terms of conditions changes with a post in the future, because there in the past, unfortunately, important changes have often been lost? And yeah,
it's possible. I mean, most of the time it's a lot of just legalese, right? They're not things that directly impact the user experience. But correct me if I'm wrong, when there's an update, you have to re-sign it, right? Like it comes up on the, is there a checkbox that says like, I agree to terms and conditions, or is it?
No, not in Germany.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, maybe that's the solution, just to say, update the terms and services.
Yeah, I think this is a good solution. Yeah.
I'll pull that forward.
Thanks. Have anybody a question here inside?
Yeah, I still got a few.
Go ahead.
I have one questions regarding the bots that are still in the app. Now I know the whole bot problem was shrink down a lot with the liquidity going out of the app, but now the system has changed to the drops that have high demand are usually now less editions and are a bit more expensive sometimes, not always. The thing with that is how the promotion works is 1 day earlier, that's the latest, 1 day earlier, we know about the edition sizes and about the drop system. So that's still a lot of time for botters to get ready. So when there's a drop that has high demand and let's say there's a lot of profit to make, we still have quite some bots in there. And I was thinking about it, and this is a general problem with everything that is released online. It's not VeVe related, it's pretty much everything. So one thing I thought about was how about having a time frame that you need to hold your collectibles, and that is like 6 or even maybe 12 months. Because for me, I'm a collector. I don't give a damn. I have it, I bought it, I wanted it, so I can keep it for a year. I don't care. But a botter would have the problem that his liquidity will dry up very soon, usually, if he has to hold these collectibles. So yeah, I guess the question is why isn't that in the consideration? Or is it just more important to make sure there's enough cash flow through market activities?
Yeah, it absolutely is part of the conversation, right? And as you guys have seen, we've become very good at squashing these bots. Now, even if some of them manage to land a drop, that's usually the final heat signature we need to restrict that account, right? So it's not that they even manage to complete the purchase or anything like that, but we need a few touch points to actually identify, okay, this doesn't look like a normal person, right? It's a malicious actor. But what will really help to change the game is the MCP, right? Because at that point, we can start to differentiate users based on their ranks or based on their, to say, okay, this person has been in the app for however long, and they do have collectibles. So they're on not a whitelist, that's not quite the right term, but at least they're kind of in the green zone, right? And then you have the more suspect accounts. Now, botters, as you say, aren't going to go and build massive collections and actually be involved in the app. They're just trying to get this quick turnaround. So the more granularity we can add to that, the better it is, right? And then on the flip side, once the OUP is in, same thing, right? But we're going to have the waitlist drop, which again will cut down on these kind of transactions and botters, give us much more, help us identify those things. And then the only way past that point for botters or suspect accounts to secure things or have more chances is if they spend OMI tokens on bronze tickets, which is going to benefit the token anyway. Now, that's not the goal, drive people there, but obviously, there are some positive downstream effects of nefarious activity if that's where it ends up. And again, we see those same signatures and the same touch points there, so we can restrict accounts at that point. So yeah, the next stage of those security measures really comes in with MCP, waitlist, OUP, those kind of things, because they just help us identify real users much more accurately.
isn't there a problem then with new users? Because apparently they won't have a collection already and they won't have MCP points, but they did also KYC. So which botters do actually buy KYC accounts from whatever countries where it's cheap? So I mean, obviously you can tell us how you will make that distinction, but is there a plan of how to make that to see the difference between a botter account and an actual new account? Because if I was a new guy and I wouldn't hit anything because I am probably a botter, that would also be discouraging.
Yeah. No, there are a number of ways that we differentiate between those accounts, but I can't really talk about them publicly because they are security measures there. So yeah, no, there's plenty of mechanisms there to identify a real account over a bot account. You know, it's based on activity. If it's a bot account, then it probably comes in, tries to participate in a drop, has done nothing else. That's it, right? Whereas if it's a genuine user, then they're probably exploring the app and using the feed and all those things. So it makes it a bit easier to identify based on behaviors. But yeah, I can't really give you more specifics.
Yeah, even now, I think that was already a bit much info.
Oh, I mean, I think that's an assumption, right? People could make.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough thing. Okay. Also, maybe if I have time for one more question, that is actually a question I got from another member of the community. Since we are having now this new VeVeverse home that looks gorgeous, I think it has a lot of the stuff that I was really wishing for, especially light. I think light will make such a big difference, and we have a lot of really great collectibles, and now we can showcase them there. Will there be a way to render out high detailed images or high resolution images so that we can maybe print it as a poster at home? Or is there more of an idea to have digital frames?
Yeah. Great question. I don't know if we'll have like a photo taking capability in there. I would assume that we would, because you know we want all content to be shareable or as shareable as possible. In the interim, you know, the way the VeVeverse is designed is because it's all hosted in cloud. On the cloud, it can render really high definition and send it to your computer, regardless of whether you're using a really high-tech gaming laptop. Now, I know screenshotting isn't the most perfect way to capture an image, but I think you'll be able to do that initially, and then we would add in like a capture mode or something like that too.
Yeah, the problem with screenshotting is you wouldn't have the resolution needed for a printout. Like printing needs so much more image information. That is the thing.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, look, I think those capabilities are part of the technology we're building on. Yeah, but I'll ask the question.
That would be awesome. Like,
yeah, I agree. Even and video capture, in-app video capture. You know, like because I mean, I imagine people can stream their home space on Twitch streams and those kind of things too, right? You can stream within your home space, stuff like that too. So yeah,
I would totally love to use my space as a green screen while streaming. Yep. That would be so awesome.
yeah, exactly right. Yeah, and I don't see why we can't make that happen at some point. Yeah.
If we can stream inside the VeVeverse, is there any connection with or a partnership with YouTube or Twitch?
No, not directly.
Not directly.
Not a direct partnership, but you would have seen in the demo, you can create those stream boards, and then you can choose, you know, what piece of content or what you want to stream. So you can have premieres. You know, we can do these live AMAs from within your collectible home space, right? Instead of just on the screen. Like it gets exciting. It gets
really next year there.
You're right.
I'm very excited. By the way, what was your first reaction when do you see or where do you see the VeVeverse?
I was very impressed. Now, when I first saw the VeVeverse, was actually a couple of stages after the home space demo that we did. So kind of I'm blown away by the capabilities of it, and I've known the technology partners for quite a while. But knowing sort of where it's going, I'm pretty happy to stick around and see that play out.
Do you have seen already VeVe City, or is it in building?
Not VeVe City, no. I've seen some really high quality renderings and specific setups and designs and things for where it's headed. But no, look, I've been in this project now for 5 years, 5.5 years, something like that. And I find, the older you get as a person, the less surprises you get in life. Right? Christmas isn't exciting anymore, all those things. So when it comes to stuff like the VeVe-verse, I actually really enjoy being oblivious to it until we're ready to kind of go with it, and sharing it with, I like sharing the excitement with everybody. And that's how David and Dan like to operate as well. They like us to be surprised by things, not just in the know.
Sounds awesome. Have anybody here questions? Because if nobody has question, we can switch to the other to the other people here. I think we can start with the first person. What's up, man?
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing? Look, I just had a couple of quick questions. I just want to say quickly, it's always a pleasure to hear you speak, Rhys. I mean, obviously I'm Aussie, but I live in Switzerland, so hearing the accent's pretty nice.
Nice.
Just two quick questions. The first one was, I noticed during the VeVe-verse demo that the VeVe Lincoln skateboard set had a fifth deck in the middle that doesn't exist on the app. I just wanted to know if you know anything about that. And my second question was whether or not we can expect, like, I'm somebody who likes to collect sets with matching mint numbers. So I was interested to know if we can expect to see selling as sets be something that rolls out with the MCP when it comes in December.
Won't be live in December. The MCP, what goes live in December is really just your ranks and your points and kind of letting you know what you've accumulated, what you've been in. But yeah, I agree. I think trading of sets, complete sets, things like that is just another awesome layer of collectability that we get.
Okay, but it's something we can expect to come later.
Later, yeah, I think later. I'd also like to see a direct trade sort of feature, or we sort of discuss being able to like list something in the marketplace, give someone some sort of code so they're the only person that can see it. So you could make a deal with someone like you would in the real world, and then the transaction happens safely on the app. So I think a lot of those sort of collectible trading features will build out as the platform does too. As to the first question, the Lincoln skateboard, no, I don't know about that. I'm guessing it will be a release later, or maybe it just didn't make the cut. Maybe it wasn't fully approved by the time we did the drop or something like that.
Yeah, because I can't help but notice it's the only set on VeVe that's named after VeVe, and that fifth deck just happened to be VeVe colors. So I'm intrigued by that.
I'll have to do some investigating of my own.
All right, thanks, mate.
No worries, man.
No problem. Have a nice day. Okay, then we have another question from Dave Jedi.
Hey, the Dark Jedi. How are you, bud?
How you doing? Guten Abend. Schöne Grüße aus Holland.
Hi.
How are you, mate? Rhys, how are you doing?
Doing well.
I have a question about the buybacks being cancelled, because we used to have buybacks in the original OUP, and then you decided to not go ahead with that because of legal reasons. Do you feel that, or rather, do you think that the other ways to burn OMI in the OUP is enough to back that up and make that balancing?
Yeah, I think it will far surpass what we would have burnt. As you saw, based on total sales from the start of VeVe until the end of last month, we would have burnt about 3 billion tokens from the supply, right? Or that's kind of what the pricing would have worked out at. Our modeling far surpasses any of that, even in the most conservative sense. Especially when you take into account staking, right? So not only are we sort of reducing the supply with these utilities, but we're expecting quite a large chunk of tokens to just be permanently out of supply through staking to earn those rewards. So yeah, I think this system will have a much greater impact on the token in terms of reducing that supply and increasing the demand. Whereas before, the demand was, it was very limited, right? That obviously the buyback system had to go from a legal standpoint.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah,
and it wasn't operating as we intended anyway. But I really do think that the utility program will utilize the token to much greater effect.
Yeah, because I end up in a lot of discussions about the buybacks not being here, but I can't really explain why we are in a better situation now. It's like it's difficult to understand why. Why we don't need it.
The short answer is those buybacks were really only designed to be a passive part of the ecosystem. They were never meant to be this real huge impact, right? We'd always plan to add utilities to the token to make it more impactful. So yeah, it was a very passive system, and as people can see, like it wouldn't have had that much impact on the token, even with such a successful year of sales. So yeah, I think moving forward, this will be a much stronger plan. Now we won't. It's going to be hard to quantify until these are in the app and we see people using them, and then we'll have to tweak the rewards and the incentives to make sure that continues. But that's the goal.
There's one more question that I had since the beginning. I've been in OMI for like 1.5 years, and what is actually the purpose of having a reserve wallet? Why don't you just burn it straight away? It has to go to the reserve wallet first, and then you burn it. So why?
Great question. So that was part of the initial tokenomic design, right? And tokens would move because they were a representation. Whenever you bought gems, they're a representation. But once we introduced crypto payout, cash out, I should say, the gem cash out, there's a huge imbalance between the value of OMI tokens when those gems were purchased and when they were consumed. So you would kind of end up with this imbalance in the Vault wallet. Now, you're completely right. That whole system is actually redundant now, right? It serves no purpose without the buybacks. But we've just decided to let it run from an engineering standpoint. It's just easier to actually build in OMI utilities now and let that run out. But that's it. Once it runs out, we'll do away with that system. And it will literally just be the circulating supply of tokens is the only supply of tokens.
So when the reserve wallet is completely burned, then the reserve wallet just will cease to exist, and then you just go to straight burning, basically.
Correct. Exactly right. Yeah. And we might get to a point once all these utilities are rolled out, say the end of next year or something, where we can just burn those wallets, whatever is left in them, and speed up that process.
I think I need more OMI.
Yeah.
We all need more OMI.
At least by then it will become less confusing, right? Because at the moment, I'm trying to differentiate between circulating supply, non-circulating supply, frozen tokens. It's still a bit all over the place.
Yeah, so I keep looking at these models, and I always think like, why is there a reserve wallet? What's the purpose of this?
Exactly. Yeah, it served a function with the original designs, which have obviously.
Well, I'm glad you confirmed it's not me.
Yeah, no, it's not you. No, and the buyback was the only link in the end between those systems, and because we had to remove that, it's now it's a redundant thing.
Okay. Well, thank you, and have a nice day, Rhys.
Always
Great
a pleasure.
questions, man.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Grüß Gott.
Okay. Before we take another, here, come to the stream live and tell the questions.
Oh, say hi.
JTM, what's up, man?
Hi, VeVe fam. Hi, Rhys.
Hey, Rob.
How are you?
Really well.
First of all, I want to thank all of your team. You did a great work. The conversion to the ERC20 was a great thing. Flawless, I must say.
Yeah.
Never heard someone thank you for that. This is a great work.
No,
my question is, when the staking starts, and I don't have enough dollar value to get in tier 1.
Yep.
I'm not incentivized to stake in any way.
Yeah. I mean, you are incentivized by getting to tier 1.
Yeah, but before there's no incentivizing for me.
Yeah, the incentive is obviously once you get there, you receive those rewards, the tickets, the collectibles, that kind of thing. But if you can't get to tier 1, and this is one of the main changes we made between the first version of the OUP and the second, you can still use the OMI token. You can still transact, right? So you're not left out of trading with the token. I guess the idea would be, you're incentivized to buy one, pretty much, or to play the game of VeVe and sell some collectibles for OMI tokens, right? And make your way in that way, which, you know, theoretically, if you're selling some collectibles, you get some OMI, you stake that OMI, you're getting collectibles and you're getting advantages. So you have a bit of a collectible flywheel there. So yeah, the incentive is obviously to get more OMI.
Okay, I get this point. And the other thing is, if I didn't start in the first 3 months, I think it is, I have to wait to the next 3 months to get in tier 1, or can I start in this phase?
Yes, you can stake at any time, right?
Okay.
At any time throughout. It just depends when that is as to what rewards you'll receive. Yeah. So there are those there's one-time progression bonuses. You get a few bonuses when you move up tiers, and you get the seasonal rewards after each snapshot. So yeah, you could stake in the first week of a new season, and you would access those reduced trading fees and some of those other perks, but you won't get the collectible rewards or the ticket rewards until the following snapshot.
Okay, I get it. Thank you.
No problem. Have a nice day, man.
You too.
Okay. Yeah, we have no other people here in the queue, but I have some other questions from the chat.
I have another question too.
Please ask about the tier 4 versus 5 rewards. There needs to be more incentive at the top tier. And I think you say in the, I think 1 year ago also, when we saw the first OUP article, there are many problems to incentivize the other higher tiers. I think that's a big problem already, right?
Yeah, it's definitely been a big part of the discussion. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We will constantly be tweaking those rewards, especially as more people make it to the higher tiers. You know, it doesn't devalue the rewards necessarily, but it dilutes them a little bit, right? There'll be more secret rare collectibles minted every season and that kind of thing. The balance is really, as we say, trying to incentivize people to stake at those tiers or stay at those tiers without just giving them complete unfair advantage over everybody else, right? Where they get all the collectibles and all the gold tickets and those things. So, you know, the real incentive for staking at tier 4 and 5, those higher tiers in season 1, is that there will be less people in those tiers. So the collectible rewards you are issued will be much more exclusive to whoever is in those tiers. You also can't actually make it to tier 5 in season 1 without fast tracking, right? So there's incentive to get there, but it's actually going to benefit all OMI token holders because they're going to burn some tokens to make their way there. And then the longer term incentive for tier 4 and 5 or those upper tiers is probably, other than the yearly collectible rewards, right, which, you know, will be exclusive in and of themselves, but it's the amount of gold tickets you can get, right? Because anyone who stakes for that full 12 months can redeem those gold tickets for land in the first season of the second year. So if you're tier 5, you know, at the end of the year, your incentive is that you're about to get, you know, exclusive land release. So at the moment, I think they're quite well balanced. I completely agree that eventually we will need to up those rewards, or at least rethink how we're doing them, or add more utility to the golden tickets or to the silver tickets, right? We can change the way that they work to really incentivize, but we won't know where the barriers are until we see the staking program rolled out, right? If everybody gets to tier 2 and nobody goes 3 or 4, okay, maybe we need to change the tier 3 rewards, right? And that's where the balance will come in. But it's always going to be predicated on making sure that it's still fun for everybody, not just the people with money.
Yeah.
Because we mentioned gold, do gold VeVe logo holders also get some benefit in the OUP?
Not at the moment. Not at the moment. You know, eventually I would like to tie them both back together. So if you were MCP rank, whatever, and OUP tier, whatever, well, then we can go a bit more granular on the rewards or on your access to things, right? I think the way that we will, you know, you get a tier badge when you're at each, you make it to tier 3, right? You get a tier 3 NFT badge. Now, at the moment, I'm thinking if that is an NFT, right, and you can see it in that wallet, it's and say you jump to tier 4, well, you would lose the tier 3 badge and get the tier 4 badge. that actually lets a lot of external games and applications reference your staking tier just by seeing which NFT badge you have, and they can offer you perks and things in their games. So, I think that we'll start to build out from there, and places like, I'm not confirming this at all, but things like Epico or Fiches or Tengoku or those things can start to offer you perks for staking as well, which obviously incentivizes you to go play their game. So I think we can add a lot more value to the staking tiers outside of our own ecosystem as well.
Awesome. What is your favorite license on VeVe, by the way? Do you have one? Or artist? You can choose.
Yeah, I like all the artist stuff, right? I like the Decon artists, the Jermaines, Koziks, that kind of stuff. And it's. I'm not a big brand guy. I'm not a big stuff guy. Right? So digital products made sense for me anyway. But I get to talk to them. I get to interview them. I get to, they come and hang out at the booth. I love walking through DesignerCon and being like, oh, Tyra McPherson, you're on VeVe. Oh, Holmes Bamcat, you're on VeVe. There's just something a bit more personal to me about those works. So that's where my focus is more than anything.
Do you have a favorite collectible?
Yeah, and I think I have the very first set of Batman Black and Whites, number 20, the complete set. So that's kind of, I've held that since VeVe launched.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you have some great mint numbers.
Yeah, well, that was back when you could get sub 40, right? I think we used to launch 16 was the first publicly available. So I really like that set. I have the golden Moogly logo, and that one same thing I've held on to because it was just such a terrible drop. It's a bit of a reminder to me of just how far we've really come in such a short time. I hold on to those guys.
Okay.
Rhys, OUP staking offers us yearly collectibles. Will there be licensed collectibles? So will there be collectibles from licensors, or will they be special made from licensors for the UOP?
Yeah, that's kind of what we're aiming at, right? I definitely want those yearly rewards to be better, right? I guess than seasonal, right? The incentive has to be strong enough. So whether that is like a artist collaboration piece with someone like Kozik or Jermaine or something like that, or maybe eventually we can rope the big licensors into this, or the company would foot the bill for that particular item. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards there. And once we're really talking, I don't know how long until staking is ready, maybe 9 months, something like that, and then 12 months from that point. So we will be much further along this journey by then. I think our relationships with those licensors will be stronger again, and I don't think it will be as hard to commission that kind of work. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. We have 3 other guys here in the queue, and after these questions, we need to finish this awesome AMA because we are now here nearly 19 minutes, and I think that's enough for this great interview.
Is there space for a follow-up question? I have one follow-up question. Yeah. So I was looking at the tier list again. So tier 1 is $2,500, and there is not much benefit. And I know there's still you will test out how much benefit will everything has to have. And I know that the community, they were really looking for higher tiers. They wanted to have higher tiers in OMIs. They wanted to have more benefits in the higher tiers. Now, the thing is, to come back to my previous question, actually, I'm still thinking about, we're looking for a mass adoption and we want to have really many people there. And I just think it sounds hard to incentivize people to invest such an amount, like 2,500, when they have not so much positives in doing so. To get these collectibles, I'm talking especially about people that collect stuff that has like a value of 50 gems, 100 gems, because that's a lot of people I know in the community that collects all this comic stuff. Like if you go to a Comic-Con, people spend much money on small stuff, so to say. Like they get a keychain for $10, but they're not saving up money to buy that $500 piece. They rather buy a lot of small stuff, and that is so these kind of people, they might get discouraged when they know, okay, there's people that have a lot of money and they're staking a lot of OMI, and through staking they get all those rewards, so we have lesser chances to get stuff. And I'm not saying it's unfair. I totally understand someone who's paying more, he has to get benefits. It's just, I think the emotional response for a lot of small collectors, so to speak, will be that it's just discouraging for them. So is there a thought how to make that more accessible?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the logic is that those users can still just use OMI tokens, right? They don't need to be staking to use those tokens. And obviously they're going to be benefiting anybody who holds the token because it's a bigger fee, right? So the biggest incentive there is, or at least to jump to tier 1, is that 1% reduction in fee tier. Over time, yeah, look, I think we'll look to put in more incentives there or motivate more people to get to that tier. But look, this is in no way financial advice. It never is. But obviously the ulterior to a staking program or these things is that early adopters are rewarded, right? And that means early adopters of the token and early adopters of that kind of use case. Now, if you're collecting the token now at whatever it is, 001 or something like that, and as we get closer to these implementations, the demand increases, that $2,500 barrier might only cost you $500, right, worth of money. If you see that play out, right? It's if you're willing to take that kind of bet. So it's not so much that the barrier isn't actually a $2,500 mark, right? It's a matter of when you choose to participate. With the longer term look being, well, okay, theoretically, if this flywheel does kick off and the demand is increasing while the supply is decreasing, the value of that token should theoretically continue up over time, right? I'm not saying it's going that way or it's going in a straight line, but it would theoretically mean that it doesn't matter when you buy OMI tokens. If you're patient enough, the value of those tokens will get you into a staking tier at some point. So that's kind of the longer term incentive there. In the immediate term, yeah, you can still transact with OMI tokens, right? Same deal. If you have them now cheaper and the value of them has gone up, well, now you can buy more collectibles with that same dollar value of tokens. So the incentive is really that underlying value appreciation and when you get into the program.
Yeah, I totally get the incentive now. I'm just thinking about the mass adoption thing. Like, and when we have like really 3 million people on the app, 4 million people on the app, if we have that, at this point, it's no longer early, and all of us here in chat possibly will be good. Yeah. I think I will manage a good tier. I already have some OMI. So it's not that I'm afraid I would miss out. It's more that I'm thinking about, okay, what will drive people in the app at this point when they think they are at a disadvantage if they can't afford this high amount of OMI.
Agreed.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yes.
Or maybe I'm coming from it from a wrong angle.
No, I think you're coming at it from a very real world perspective, okay. Right? And that will be the education portion of that rollout, right? It's saying, okay, yeah, here is the advantages right now. If you can't make it into it now, well, here's how you could potentially get there in the future, right? Whether that's trading collectibles to get your OMI tokens or anything like that. I think that will be a huge way for the mainstream to jump the gap, right? When they realize you can, okay, I have this collection, I can sell them for OMI tokens. Now I can stake those tokens and join, that incentives program. Yeah.
Okay, I missed the part where you can sell for OMI tokens. I was thinking about you need to collect the 1,000 to get the cash out and buy the OMI. You can, okay.
You can collect
got it. So that makes a big difference.
Yeah. It changes the where tokens can go, and it's really easy for you as a non-crypto mainstream user to just go, list this item. Do you want to list for OMI or gems?
Back in the game, Chris.
Yeah.
And because we heard so much about the OUP, what you think? I don't saw the last final version of the MCPs, but what is more powerful, the MCP or OUP? Because I still wait for the MCP. I'm not a whale, but also I'm not a fish with my 171 sets.
Yeah, look, I think they're both going to make it really fun, right? They're both kind of like they're connected, but they're almost existing in these separate sort of systems. And if you have collectibles, you can take advantage of what the MCP gives you. If you have OMI, you can take advantage of what the OUP gives you. obviously, if you have both, you're increasing your chances on both sides of the house there. So it remains to be seen if one is more usable than the other or one is more adopted. I am of the opinion that if there are more non-crypto users, then the MCP points will probably be more diluted, those rewards. But I don't think we've published anything yet about sort of how many points you need to do this or how many you need to do that. So
yeah, I think also the people who comes in, their first contact with the collectible, they will also have the first contact with the MCP instead of the OUP.
Yes, exactly right. And then when you open the market page and you see these gold tickets being traded or silver tickets, and you're like, well, hang on, that guarantees me a collectible. What's this OMI token thing? Right, and you go down the rabbit hole that way. Especially, it's all predicated on the collectibles, right? Like there has to be big enough IP and enough demand for that item for someone to want the advantage to get it. But that's what we do. That's what we have. So that's what this whole thing is built around. Yeah.
Okay.
You're on mute, Mr. VeVe. You're on mute.
Mute.
Mute. What's the German word for mute?
Du bist stumm geschaltet.
I'm so lost. Sorry. Is it okay when we can do 3 other questions?
Yeah. Do you want to just give me like 30 seconds? I'm going to run to the bathroom. Then we'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Professional. That's what they call it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, man. Give the stream a like, then you can see other people the stream more. And by the way, thank you so much for being here. We have sometimes 120 views here. That's amazing. Thank you so much, fam. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Don't forget to like and thumb up.
Yeah, and watch to the other channels. They make German content. If you're from the German community, watch to these channels. And Energy makes English. I think it's content with no language, but look at him on Twitter or his burn collection. Okay, then we can start with another question from Dave Jedi. Hello again, man.
Hello again.
Oh, sorry. I'm watching the YouTube and not the stream here, so I didn't see myself there.
Okay.
Guten Abend.
Servus.
I had another question, Rhys, and one of the perks of the OUP is that you get, in the end of the year, you will get a gold ticket that will give you the right to buy land. Now, we have also seen already some glimpses of the VeVeverse, where you can see an island with a house on it, where Dan was walking around. But that's not land. That's like your new showroom, right? Everybody will have that. If it's like your showroom you have now, you're going to have your own island in the VeVeverse, and next to that we will have land. But what's with the land? How is that going to look? Is it just going to be like a piece of grass, or are we going to
I mean, look, there's not a lot of details on it at the moment, and whether we have different types of land, or I think at least we will have land in different estates or neighborhoods. As to what that land looks like or what you can do with it, I think basically you would have the option. This is my speculation, right? That you would have the option to move your showroom to your piece of land and have that kind of be the setup, or to create your own things. Now, you don't need land to participate in the VeVeverse. Right?
No.
Everyone will have a home space, but it will give you the option to build your own experiences and generate income from that land, that kind of thing. So. Yeah, I think eventually we'll have it will look somewhat like a city. I would love to see the map look like the original OMI token, our OMI logo, the little
or a V shape.
Yep, or a V shape, or we do both, right? You have the OMIverse, the VeVeverse, whatever in between, and portals. Maybe you go to VeVe City and there's a portal that takes you to licensed IP land number 1, licensed IP land number 2, those kind of things. So yeah, look. I'd love to add more color there, but I think we'll hold those cards until we're a bit closer to releasing it.
It was worth a shot.
Yeah. What would you like to see? How would you like to see it play out?
Yeah, it's
Depends on the thing.
I'm not that imaginary to in metaverses, so I really wouldn't know. But
Okay.
yeah, I'm just wondering this: are you going to have neighbors? Are you going to go from one land to another land? Do you need to build stuff like in Spatial that you?
Yeah, all of the above, right? I think the plan with the home space is that you have your friends list that you saw in that demo, and eventually your friends' properties would appear around you, right? So that you actually just kind of move to their home space really easily, so that would be individual to every user's experience. And then eventually, you would have these kind of central hubs that you can take your avatar to or fly your DeLorean to and go and explore those experiences.
But will you have like different sizes of lots if you have like because the OUP does say that you can have an exclusive piece of land. It doesn't say you can have land, you can have exclusive land.
Yeah, so the current thinking is that those gold ticket redemptions would be available, in an OMI land sort of setup or some piece there.
We're going to have OMI land?
Oh, yeah, we'll come up with a better name for it, I guess. But I think
Rhys land.
Rhys land, yeah. Everyone will enjoy that. So if land redemption, we open that particular estate for those gold ticket redemptions. I think
Rhysania.
Rhysania. I'll put it forward.
I have one more question, short question, because you were just talking about the MCP and the OUP, and I'm banking on both.
Mm-hmm.
So is there going to be like a super tier for MCP master collectors and OUP giants, like a VeVe Meister maybe?
Literal giant. Yeah, I would like to see that. Now I don't know if it will be a super tier, like you need to now have $100,000 OMI plus this plus that. But I think there's ways to add new perks and benefits for both of those.
You're going to get platinum tickets.
Or first access to something, or tickets to VeVeCon, or whatever happens to take place there.
That's $20, Rhys. We're not going to happy with that.
Yeah, just a big statue of me. So there's a lot of opportunity there, but we have to get the product out first. So I think that's the main motivation at the moment, and then once we know it's all working and we see how people are using the app and interacting with it again, then we can start to layer in those extra perks and tiers.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
I won't come back.
So what I understood was,
so sorry, man. So sorry.
What I understood is that the VeVe land sale is more soonish than everything else, right? And the gold ticket has also expired, so not the first gold tickets we could use for this one. So it will take some time.
Yeah. So look, I think there will be land releases before the gold ticket redemption thing, because we're talking sort of 9 months plus 12 months, whatever. That's why I'm leaning towards like an OMI land or some exclusive sort of parcel of the map where you can redeem those tickets for. But I think there will be other opportunities for land between now and then, that you can also sort of pick up there, because fundamentally it's almost like the real world. You go to a shopping center, or businesses set up in shopping centers because that's where the foot traffic is. If there's a digital whatever land, licensed IP land, and you can buy a block of land near it, there's foot traffic coming past, and that's where you can kind of establish your home or your business in the VeVeverse. So
there are a lot of speculations about also the land and the VeVeverse and the city. For example, we have already some running systems like the Earth 2 project, or this OVR project, which is augmented reality lay on the real world. So all the speculations there is in which direction we are going to.
Yeah, I mean, this is how I kind of imagine the metaverse building out, right? It's if you have a digital store or some sort of experience, it doesn't just have to live in one metaverse, right? Or it lives in one, but you buy land in another one and have a portal from that one to your experience, right? So, there's going to be like the land thing isn't just valuable because people can build experiences on it. It's valuable because it can take you to someone else's experience somewhere else, right? And that's where that interconnectivity of metaverses will come.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, now we have two other questions. One from the VeVe Meister. Now we have Germany completely here in this space.
Guys, can you hear me?
We got
Yes,
you.
we hear you.
Germany.
All right. Thank you for putting me on, Captain. I'm still at work, actually. You know, I sneaked away, and thank you for putting me on. Hi, VeVe fam. I have question for Rhys, and since Rhys, you are a crypto native of sorts, I know you like ETH, and I'm not sure what kind of bags you also have besides OMI. I'm sure you've taken care of OMI bags, but let me ask you this question. So I might be a moon boy of sorts, a dreamer, and I see what is going on and where this might lead to. So with all the things, let's fast forward just a couple of years, maybe 3, 4, 5 years. And with all the things implemented, like OUP, MCP, the land sale, let's take 5 million active users, maybe even 4 or 3 less. New, bigger exchanges, the VeVeverse, gamification in there. Then we have Watch to Burn. We have Massage to Burn. Venkatesh will introduce this. We have this whole solar plantages full of, Curtis Cooper is doing that. We have so many more things to come that we are not thinking about right now. So with all of this implemented 24/7 burns of OMI, where does this take OMI within, I don't know, a couple of years? Will it be a top 5 coin? What do you think? Will it be bear market proof even?
I don't think I'll ever call anything bear market proof. But that depends on your opinion of bear market proof, I suppose. One OMI is still one OMI, regardless of the dollar value. Where does it take it? Yeah, top. Look, I'm aiming for top 20. I think in the next round. I think that as a product and an ecosystem, I mean, we're still one of the only companies with a user base, and that has a genuine product. Not just we're not just trying to sell block space. We're not just trying to sell you on options protocols or these things. So in terms of opportunity for success, I think we're at the top of the pile. Right? We have. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean other projects won't succeed, right? But where other projects have one brand, right? If we take Hero, for example, or something like that, we are like the directory of brands, right? We have so many reasons and so many places for people to come to our ecosystem, regardless of what you enjoy or what you like collecting. So I think of all projects, yeah, we absolutely have the best chance to bring in the mainstream to this ecosystem, and obviously to continue growing ours. Now, the impact that has on the token, as we've sort of discussed, if we get that flywheel going, if the demand and the incentives are strong enough, I mean, I see no reason why it won't forever be deflating in supply and increasing in demand. That's kind of what we're aiming for. I don't put any prices to things because that's financially irresponsible, but that's obviously I'm aiming for as high as we can possibly get forever.
Thanks for the answer, Rhys. Captain, don't forget to ask him about a real-life event in Germany sooner or later. See you guys.
David did spout off some locations for a VeVeCon, and Germany was one of them. So we'll see.
Ooh.
Yeah, we need this. Because
we also named like
I think Berlin is a nice place to do it.
Yeah,
No.
I agree.
Berlin is nice.
Yeah, because I live here.
Yeah.
not Stuttgart, because I live there. So
No. Berlin is much cooler. Okay, thanks, VeVe Meister, and have a nice day and have a nice work.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have the last question here in the stream. What's up, man?
Hi, Rhys, stuck in cover again.
Hi,
I just wanted to ask you, you mentioned, I heard you mention a couple of times that the fact that VeVe has the best chance of going mainstream. What I wanted to ask about was we saw that David Yu is going to be at the Singapore Comic-Con. And I also saw, I mean, Dance Buddha Panda has been pushing for the opportunity to be able to sort of, get the word out to the Mandarin-speaking community. And I saw that Corey reached out to him, and apparently he's managed to bag a meeting with David. So between the Comic-Con in Singapore and this apparent meeting that David has organized with Dance Buddha Panda, can we take this to represent a move by VeVe to open up the Asian market in a more substantial way?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's always been in the sights, right? And when we started this business, David and Dan were living in Taiwan, right? They were very much ingratiated in the APAC community. I think we know how we obviously know how big an opportunity it is to have products in there. And from the very early days, we lined up quite a number of project partners in China and all those things too. So look, it's a huge undertaking. I think to make it really effective, we need localization in the app. But as you guys have seen, this last 4 months, we've really started to go to the events and build out those touch points and the awareness. So I think the focus will continue to grow there, but not at the moment. It's not like we're dropping everything and going all in on Asia. We're really targeting as far-reaching an audience as we can. So
Could I just ask you if you have an idea of how long we can expect to wait before we see localization in the app?
Yeah, look, I don't have an exact timeline, but it's not at the top of the list.
Okay, fair enough.
We've got the MCP, OUP, quite a number of other fun updates and upgrades that we'll see in the next few months as well. And then I think that it would shift to that side. But look, with music and sports kind of being the primo focus at the moment, I guess that would be the next iteration, and then I think we would start to roll out more localization and those kind of things.
All right, awesome. All right, thanks for your time, mate.
No worries, mate.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. We are now here on the end on this stream. And yeah, thanks everyone who attended. Thanks to Rhys for your time and your answers. It was amazing. And hopefully, probably next year, next AMA here on my channel.
Hopefully.
Oh yeah, true. Thanks to the other guests, Chris, Energy, and Frank. Thank you so much. Look to the channel to Chris and Frank. They are Germany YouTubers also. And have anybody of you tell something to the stream?
I'll go. Yeah, just a massive shout out. Thank you for the invite and for having me, and love getting in touch with all our Euro fam as well. So thanks everybody for
thanks for your time, Rhys.
No worries.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
I've still a message from Deadpool Whale to Greece, and when you come to Australia, you want to buy your personalized flip-flops. So.
That's it. Maybe that's some merch we'll give out.
And I hope we keep in touch because we have to finish one.
We do. I'm sorry. I'll get back to you on that. I promise.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, fam. I wish you there a wonderful noon or evening until your captain. Bye-bye.
Bye.